Hi guys, this video is going to be really very helpful in your preparation for the exam. You just cannot miss it at any cost. I'll give you two important reasons for this. The first, I'll ask you, are you supposed to attempt all the questions in your paper? No, not really. Let's talk about the past year exam. In it, if a student had attempted around 16 questions, getting 14 right, maybe 2 wrong. Now, this comes with an accuracy of around less than 90%. But the student could score almost 99 percentile, which is pretty less as compared to what we had discussed in our last video. So, selection of questions is important. Along with it, when we are talking about the RCs, selection of passage is equally important. Okay? The next important reason which I'll give you is, are exams meant for experimentation? Not at all. We need to basically execute all the learning which we have done in our preparations. What we do? We need to experiment in our mocks, implement our strategies and then see how it works. So basically in today's video, we would be trying to figure out the right passages to attempt and use all the learning which you get from this video to implement in your next mock and see how it works. Okay, so this is your mentor Pratibha for VARC. Let's begin our session full of learning. Okay. So let's begin our discussion by identifying our PCGs. By PCG, I would say your personal comfortable genres. See, if you're a student with a science and tech background, a passage based on science and tech would be very easy, right? It will become comfortable for you. If you have an inclination for history, history-based passage would be easy. So basically, if you do a lot of reading, this will help you in bringing those uncomfortable genres into your comfortable genres. And that will make you the passages understandable for you. See, when we talk about passages can be complicated, can be understandable. Why a passage is complicated? Because the author has used some jargon language. He has used some technical vocab in that passage which you are not familiar with because you are not in the habit of reading. So, develop that habit of reading a lot and then see how it works for you. We will discuss this in some other video about the reading skills. The other passage is understandable. Understandable becomes understandable because the language is easy, you are familiar with the terms and you can comprehend the passage very well. Now the questions can also be according to your comfort genre. You have been practicing, you might have definitely been practicing with your RCs, especially from the PYQs and all. You might have found that some questions are doable. That means you don't have to use a lot of reasoning in it. You have to just go back to the passage, infer from that specific details, whatever the author has mentioned and mark your answer. When we talk about difficult questions can be difficult, may seem to be difficult, like if there are many elements included in just a single question, like if true or false, will align with the passage or not, or accept this. So when there are many elements to be taken care of in a single question, at times they become difficult, but practice will help you in that also. So reading will make the passages from complicated to understandable and practicing the questions will make it from difficult to doable. Okay. Moving further with our discussion, let's understand the combinations. There can be different combinations. Passage आपका lengthy हो सकता है, short हो सकता है, understandable, tough, comfortable and all that. And same way questions can also be tricky or doable and all that. हम मोटे मोटे दो combinations की बात कर रहे हैं. This is easy RC with difficult questions and difficult RC with easy questions. अब आपने इन दोनों ही सिनेरियो में ऐसी सिचुएशन हो सकती है कि आपने मोस्ट ऑफ द क्वेश्चंस के आंसर्स मार्क कर लिए, चाहे वो इजी आरसी हो या डिफिकल्ट आरसी, लेकिन वन ऑफ देम यू फाउंड रियली ट्रिकी टू आंसर, रियली डिफिकल्ट टू अटेम्प्ट. In such situation, it is not mandatory to attempt all the questions from a particular RC. You can definitely leave one of the question, but not more than that, because you have invested your time in that. And आपका जो टाइम इन्वेस्ट हुआ है, जो आपने जो नंबर ऑफ अटेम्प्ट्स करे उस पर्टिकुलर आरसी को लेके, उसके बीच में एक प्रॉपर प्रोपोर्शन होना चाहिए. Otherwise, this is not advisable, this is not justified also at all. Now, when we talk about choosing the right passage, start reading the passage. The first few lines will give you the idea about the passage. And if not the first few lines, read the first paragraph. It will give you clarity and maybe you come to know about the topic also of the passage. This is the point where you need to take a call whether I have to continue with this passage, whether I have to invest time in this particular RC or not. If you are not able to understand, don't impose the passage on yourself. Decide now rather than repenting after completely reading the whole passage. Decide now and save on your time. ओके, थोड़ा पैसेज पढ़ा, समझ में थोड़ा आया, आप ये भी सोच सकते हो कि थोड़ा और पढ़ लेता हूँ, थोड़ा और पढ़ लिया बट यू आर नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड। क्वेश्चंस आए, क्वेश्चंस भी देख लेता हूँ, अब क्वेश्चंस के आंसर्स मार्क नहीं कर पा रहे हो बिकॉज यू हैव नॉट बीन एबल टू कॉम्प्रिहेंड द पैसेज वेल। सो प्लीज डिसाइड योर पैसेज सिलेक्शन वेरी वाइजली। अब एक और पॉइंट हो सकता है जो स्टूडेंट्स को बॉदर करें, एंड दैट कैन बी द लेंथ ऑफ द पैसेज। Some students get really bothered by the length of the passage. If that is the case, keep this criteria also in your mind while deciding the passage. Now, different students will have different criteria for deciding the selection of the passage. Don't get influenced. Just work on yourself. Think about your strengths, think about your weaknesses, and then plan accordingly. These can be your strong criteria, your strong basis for marking the selection of the passage. After the selection of the right passage, we need to focus on the selection of the questions. If you have been practicing your RCs, you might have definitely done RCs from your previous year papers also. From your previous year papers, the type of questions which they present in the RCs, you can make out what is the general idea of the questions which they put. Scan the questions based on that and find out the type of the questions. This can be helpful. Then we talk about the nature of the questions. The questions can be specific, they can be general. For some students, answering the specific questions become easy because you have to just recapture the information or the details which have been given in the passage. If you have focused on the specific details given in the passage, these questions will definitely be easy for you to mark. The general questions, you need a complete understanding for the whole passage for this. Now, when we have discussed that there are these two types of questions, it doesn't mean that we would be attempting either of them. Basically, you have to work on the whole passage. So there has to be a holistic understanding for the passage to mark both the types of questions. Now, next thing which we need to take care of is we need to check the time which we have. If your verbal ability skills are strong, you can begin the paper with the questions based on VA. Attempting more number of questions in less time can act as a confidence booster for you when you move on to your RCs. You are not under time pressure, your comprehension can be better with lot of accuracy. In the same way, when I talk about students who have got strong reading habits, for them RCs can be comfortable. Since it is their strength, they may be able to mark more number of questions in less time with the RCs. Basically, our target should be that we are able to attempt maximum number of questions in the first 30 minutes. So our action plan for this can be based upon our own strength. So guys, as I told you, exam is not the time for experimentation. The time for experimentation would be your mocks, your sectionals. So basically, make some strategies, implement them in your mocks, be consistent with a particular strategy and see how it works out for you. In case if doesn't work out for you, try to go through it, analyze it. Did the whole strategy go wrong or was a part of it which went wrong? If the parts are wrong, try to make some changes in it. If the whole strategy is wrong, try to figure out some other strategy which really works for you. But since we do not have much time, be quick with planning your strategies, practicing, implementing and all that, so that we don't run short of time or short of our practice time. Okay. So guys, a quick recap for whatever learning we have done in today's session. It is about more and more reading to make your uncomfortable genres into your comfortable genres. Understand the combinations of the passage and the questions, accordingly decide, and to use all your strategies, to use all your experimentation and implementation in your mocks, and then find out a wonderful strategy that will really work for you personally. Okay, that's all in today's video. See you soon in the next video. Keep learning, keep solving, keep growing. All the best.